It's January 20th, 2020, and today we are looking at some of the brand new board game and RPG releases that have recently come out this month.
Abyss is a game where you are taking part in an undersea kingdom fighting for power by collecting whether it's keys, senators, pearls, or you could fight monsters. They're more generic monster tokens to get rewards. Now its new expansion, Abyss Leviathan, changes that monster mechanic up by adding new, more interesting monsters, Leviathans. You can fight these creatures to get bigger rewards, and not only that, whoever has fought the most gains control of a statue, which gains you victory points, and there might be a punishment for who fights the least amount of Leviathans. Flux has another new Flux game, Astronomy Flux. This one is a space theme but not sci-fi themed Flux, but what's really cool about this is it uses actual pictures from NASA. So you're going to get beautiful pictures of like Jupiter, Saturn, and other planetary bodies. Barrage is a game you may sound familiar with because it was on a lot of people's top 2019 games. This is a game all about gaining power, but this time when I mean power, I mean like electricity. You're going to actually be using dams and having to store powers, and it uses these really unique mechanics such as a wheel, so you can't just gain your resources right away, deciding where to build your dams to maybe go for the cheaper ones that are lower downstream or higher up to block people from getting water. Caylus is returning, this time with Caylus 1303. This re-implementation, of course, has different artwork, but also streamlines the process and adds a couple few new mechanics. Coraline, Beware of the Other Mother is a game based on the movie Coraline. In this, though, you don't play as Coraline. It is a cooperative game when you play as the ghost of kids already caught by the other mother. And it's your goal to try to help Coraline free herself and her parents. You're going to have to do this by meeting some of the other characters throughout the movie and hopefully do it before the button eclipse. Domination's Road to Civilization is a game from Holy Grail Games. In this, you'll be building up a civilization using special triangle dominoes. You'll be matching them to build up core pillars of your civilization, unlocking and mastering skills in order to really define what is your civilization. We've got Fate of Cthulhu, which is not a board game, but actually an RPG. If you don't know, the Fate series, which is why Fate of, is a long-running RPG style, which uses not 20-sided die, but these dice that either pluses or minuses on them. In this, it's a standalone, so you don't need any other books, but in Fate of Cthulhu, you are actually time travelers. You've seen the bad future, so you're trying to go back in time and trying to change that. The book is, as I said, standalone, and comes with multiple different timelines for you to try and stop. The Fox and the Forest Duet, which we talked about a little while ago on our most anticipated games, is the trick-taking but cooperative version of Fox and the Forest. Instead of competing against each other, you're going to work together to try to help each other collect different sets, but be careful, don't wander too far off the path in the forest.
The Grey Death is the newest book in the Mutant Year Zero RPG line. You can play this one standalone, but you will benefit if you have familiarity with some of the more recent books that have come out, as this one brings together humans, mutants, animal people, and other elements from those books into a new storyline. Ni no Kuni 2, the board game, is based on Ni no Kuni 2, the video game. This is from Steamforged. It's a cooperative game. You'll be working together to carry out quests and protect your village in a cute little Japanese RPG style. Plunderbund is a new game. Think Prohibition era, but with fantasy elements. As players, you'll be in control of guilds, and you will be attempting to make deals, hire agents, but you'll have to maybe pay off some of those favors later on, or you could lose control of the city. Rallyman GT is a new edition of Rallyman. This is a racing game in which you will be pressing your luck, deciding how many dice you want to roll. You could roll a bunch and go really fast, but if you're too risky, you might damage your vehicle or run into corners, etc. So you got to take those things into account. Sorcerer City. This is a new tile building game. You're all trying to rebuild this magical city. You're wizards, so crazy things can happen. And at the beginning of each round, everyone's going to get a set of tiles and 2 minutes on a timer to optimize them the best way that you can. So you're going to get points based on how you match them up with colors, etc. And then you'll be getting new tiles to put into your pool at the end of the round. So there's a bit of a deck deck building element to that as well. Terraforming Mars has a new expansion, Turmoil. This one adds a political aspect to the game. So now there's a separate board where players are trying to gain control of different factions. Those factions have different levels of influence and may grant you different powers and abilities. And of course, there are cards that will relate to the level of influence you have in those fields as well as the game goes on. Tiny Epic Tactics is the newest Tiny Epic game. This one is a tactical fighting game as well as some area control in there. It uses a 3D board that comes out of the box, so terrain and height will be of importance. It has cooperative modes, solo mode, team-based modes for you to try and fight each other as well as gain control of specific areas of the map. And lastly, we have a couple of new LCG packs to start the year off with, so you can keep up with the Arkham Horror card game, which has Dark Side of the Moon, the third pack in the Dream Eaters cycle. And then for Game of Thrones, there's The Things We Do for Love, which takes some cards from older editions of the game and reimagines them into a brand new premium pack.
I mean, the Arkham Horror one in particular, this chapter, I don't think you know, but this cycle, actually some people are in the real world while some are in the dream world, so you go back and forth with the chapter packs, which I think is a very interesting twist. I'm really glad that each cycle's plays very differently than the others.
I heard that if you play this one while listening to Pink Floyd's Dark Side of the Moon, it syncs up.
Oh, you can only hope. But you also have Barrage. Like I said, this was one I remember seeing on Kickstarter, but now seeing it on a lot of people's top games of 2019, I'm like, I should give this game a shot.
Yeah, a lot of people have been buzzing about it. It's kind of funny. It reminds me of, it's like the same thing as with movies, when, a lot of movies come out in limited release, but they're on people's top 10s, but they don't come out for most people till like January.
Right.
This is like that, the equivalent of that. It's like, wait, this game's out now? Why weren't people talking about it last year? Because it's Kickstarter and all this stuff. Yeah,
a lot of these were Kickstarters.
A lot of Kickstarter overflow at the beginning of January.
I mean, as you said, that's probably a reasonable bet for most of our release videos.
It's a common thing these days. Yeah. Anything else catch your eye from this week?
I mean, this is more of a small thing, but I mean, I like the movie Coraline. I haven't played Ni no Kuni, but they're definitely not things where like, that's a board game property.
Yeah, Ni no Kuni is interesting because, it is Steam forged.
Have you played?
I have not played the video games, no. Have you?
No, I've not.
So there you go. But it looks like it's a much smaller game from them. It's not like 100 minis or anything. So it catches my eye a little more. Abyss Leviathan is also cool. I know that's actually been available outside of the US for a while now. But it's finally now here in the States too.
We're a little biased for US releases.
Finally, where we are. And of course the new Terraforming Mars expansion. We haven't had the chance to try it, but picked it up on Kickstarter.
That's a big one I really want to do.
Yeah.
Once again, Kickstarter.
Yeah. And then there were also a bunch of like interesting under the radar games I didn't know about. Like we said, there were two Holy Grail games, some other ones that just sounded cool that I didn't know about. Sorcerer City sounds neat.
I do like the Fate of Cthulhu idea with time travelers because I think that gets over the people want to be the hobo with the shotgun and kill Cthulhu. Like, you should be trying to go back and stop it before Cthulhu becomes a thing.
Yeah, that's an interesting twist on it. So these are releases from really the past couple of weeks of January. It's been a lighter month, but I think we're starting to ramp back up again to more releases. So talk to us, what have you been buying since our last release video? You getting anything from this list? Or maybe, I don't know if we've had the chance to ask people, games you got for the holidays, anything like that?
Yeah.
Talk to us.
I'm also curious, because this is a big list, but let's not forget our last week's Kickstarter, which had a lot of titans in both big names and prices.
Yes, can you afford any of these games at this point? Talk to us, let us know. Till next time, I'm Jonathan.
I'm Will.
This was Roll for Crit.
If you want to help out, you can check out our Patreon, or a simple click to like and subscribe can go a long way.
We really appreciate everything that you can do for us. We love you.